Hi, everyone. I'm Monique Coleman. I've been supporting and following Peace One Day for many years, and I am so thrilled to be here on Anti Racism Day. Please tell as many people as you can about this broadcast right now. There's so much more to come. So pick up your phone, share on social media, and don't make sure that you use the hashtag Fight Racism. Now, an international recording artist and acclaimed singer songwriter, please welcome the dreamy tones of Jack Savoretti.
My name is Jack Savoretti, and I am what they call a singer-songwriter. It's important to me because I have children, and I have children that have taught me to see the world through the eyes of the next generation and what they find acceptable and what they find unacceptable. The same way I was with my parents and my parents were with theirs. Every generation has an obligation to improve the society in which it lives, without necessarily always pointing fingers and judging the generation that went before, because you have to sort of try and find some understanding into every generation should be as good as it can be with the information it has. And you somewhat have to sort of trust that and try not to be too cynical about, accusing previous generations of not getting it right when they didn't have the same amount of information, knowledge, and experiences as the next generation does. So the reason I find it's important is because my children expect this of me. My children, I expect this of myself. I expected it of my parents, but my children expect it even more from me because they are growing up in a world that is far more inclusive, even though there is division. It's far more inclusive than the world my grandparents lived in, that's for sure, than the world my parents lived in. And I hope that it's going to be a world that's even more inclusive than the world I lived in. And the only way that can happen is with days like today. And that's why I feel responsible and I feel like it's something I have to do. I think music's always been ahead of the game with this. Music is a very inclusive art form. It is an art form that does not see color. It is an art form that does not see, sex. Doesn't see. It's not based on that. It's a language. It's such a universal language that because it's such a universal language, going back to what I was talking about before about not always necessarily misconstruing a situation or misunderstanding a cultural behavior because of your lack of knowledge of it, suddenly gets kind of diluted with music because it brings it to this sort of common ground. It's a language that does bring people on a very common ground. And I think that is the magic of music. I think it's the reason that it is this mystical thing that it is, because it has the capability of doing that. I think patience is key. In my experience, my education growing up, I went from a very British education to then a very Italian education to then what they call an international education. And the greatest education I got from all of those three was by far the international education, in the sense that going to school every day and being in a classroom with kids from 12 different nations, speaking 12 different languages, and me having 12 different preconceived ideas of those languages, of those cultures, of those nations, and having them every day, and every day being re-educated and being shown that my prejudice or my preconception, so to speak. It wasn't really prejudice. I didn't have prejudice, but definitely I would have had preconceptions of some, maybe, were not necessarily my own ideas. They were things that I'd either seen on TV, heard my parents say, heard my peers say. So it's really important to try not to be influenced too much by that which you are not choosing to allow yourself to absorb when it comes to information, and just stay on top of your game. Be aware, why do I think that about that culture, about that language, about this certain type of situation? Why do I think that? Do I genuinely think that, or do I not? And by being in an education system where I was surrounded with different cultures, I very quickly learned to just take a second before thinking I knew what was going on. And a really stupid example of that, a really silly example of that, which I tell my daughter all the time, was one of the first times I went out on a date with my wife, who is very English. And I phoned my dad my father phoned me, and we had this amazing conversation. I think we were talking about football or whatever. I can't remember. But at the end, my wife turned to my girlfriend at the time. She turned to me and she said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm fine." Why? She goes, "Just sounds like you've had a. Did you get in a fight with your father? Were you having a fight?" And I was like, no, I think we were talking about the weather. I don't know. It was just how we expressed ourselves. But her preconception of communication, for example, was she thought it was two people having an argument, being aggressive, is how she had read it. But it wasn't. It wasn't at all. It was two people shooting the breeze, talking about God knows what at the time. And that is a silly example, but a small example to show you that what you might be absorbing or what you might be taking in as aggressive behavior, disrespectful behavior, or something like that might just be different. It's just different. And that patience to allow yourself that time to sort of say, well, what were they actually trying to get to with that way of doing things? It's not maybe the same as mine. That patience allows you to sort of get a lot closer to people and cultures that you didn't know anything about previously.
This is a song called Better Change. If you think that I'm writing this song for the money, try living a day in my shoes, and you'll see what it means to be angry and lonely with nothing but nothing to lose. See, I'd rather be here with a bottle of wine, drinking and singing with old friends of mine. I don't care what it means, I don't know what it takes, but to win is the greatest mistake I could make. You don't recognize my face, you don't know my name. If I could do it again, I would do it the same. But I promise you this, one day the world will change. Better change, better change. It better change, it better change. See, I've crucified saviors, I've glorified traitors, I follow these madmen to war. I have hailed the dictator, I'm a lover, I'm a hater, I am what I am, nothing more. You don't recognize my face, you don't know my name. If I could do it again, I would do it the same. But I promise you this, one day the world will change. Better change, better change. Better change, better change. And out in the distance, out of the blue, what will become of me and you? Legends are stories, only begging for truth, made by the memory of me and you. Oh, at the end of an era, at the end of the day, the ones we remember are those who are brave. And I know I'm a coward, I know I'm afraid of the ones that I love, and I'm bound to betray. I don't recognize my face, I don't know my name. If I could do it again, I would do it the same. 'Cause I promise you this, one day I know I will change. Better change, better change. Oh, I know I will change. Better change, better change. Oh, I swear I will change. Better change, better change. Oh, I know I will change. Yes, I know I'll change. There's a rising on the street every woman, man, and child. Through the struggle, we will all unite. Watch the city running wild, 'cause we've been lied to by the liars. We've been sold a week and buy. And in our hearts, there's a fire. You can see it in our eyes. We are the revolution. We want it all tonight. We want to take back what's rightfully ours. We are the revolution. We want to stand and fight. Map of our lives, written in scars, written in scars. There's a rising on the streets tonight. There's a reason for the cause. It's up to us to remember, yes, all the world's gone before. Well, I'll be taken by the taker. Fate that awaits us all. Till the day we meet our maker, we won't be stopped by any walls. We are the revolution. We want it all tonight. We want to take back what's rightfully ours. We are the revolution. We want to stand and fight. A map of our lives, written in scars, written in scars. Whoa, oh, oh, oh. Whoa, oh, oh, oh. Whoa, oh, oh, oh. No, 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 no. Oh, we are the revolution. We want it all tonight. We want to take back what's rightfully ours. We are the revolution. We want to stand and fight. Map of our lives, written in scars, written in scars.
Wow. Oh my goodness. That was amazing. That was Jack Savoretti there. Jack, thank you so much for your support today. I said dreamy earlier, but I meant soul stirring and transformative. That was incredible.